Good evening. My name is Richard. This is over and over and over again. And it might be a slightly different evening, but it's Christmas, so it's acceptable. This is the Arsenal Women's Show. It is a very special edition. It is, of course, a 2023 yearly review. So we're going to look back on the year of 2023. It's had its ups and downs, hasn't it? It's been a successful year in terms of a trophy that we've brought home. Also, there's been some frustrations as well, some disappointments, and, of course, some serious injury problems as well. There was a World Cup in 2023 as well, so we'll maybe have a little look at that as well. So this is going to be all about the year of 2023. It's going to be good, and we're going to give out our awards as well. They're only a bit of fun, and I'm sure that winners will be pleased that they've won, but we'll do that as well. So it's all coming up the other side of this. And, of course, joining us is our usual panel, of course. Andreas, how are you? I know you've not been feeling too well. Good to see you with us.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not too good, but I caught a terrible flu a few days before Christmas. Yeah, I didn't have the best Christmas at all, but anyway, it's better now. Not really good, but better. And I'm sure that being on the show and discussing all the Arsenal subject will help me to feel a lot better tonight. So looking forward to the show.
Well, it's kind of medication for you, isn't it? You know, coming on here. You don't need a doctor. You just need to come on with us, and we'll make.
Oh, there are plenty of good doctors in Germany, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. And Emma as well. Of course, you're actually on time today as well, which is nice. It's good to see you actually.
I was on my day off. It was good. Couldn't say well. It was my day off, and yeah, just had my dinner, and now joining you guys. So look back on what's been an eventful year. So I know it'll be good.
It has been an eventful year. That's a very good way to describe it. Now, just before we get into it all, just a few statistics for you for the year. The Arsenal women played 37 matches in all competitions, 22 wins, 6 draws, and 9 defeats. 84 goals scored, 38 conceded. So we conceded virtually a goal a game, and conceded scored sort of more than 2 a game. The top goal scorer in 2023 for Arsenal women was, unsurprisingly, maybe Stina Blackstenius. She scored 18 goals across the year. 18, Second was Frida Marnon with 14, so she scored a lot of goals. And third was Caitlin Ford with 10. Of course, those three did play in, the end of last season and the start of this season. Russo got 6 as well. Obviously, she only played half the year, so she's worth a mention as well. Katie McCabe scored 5 along with Kim Little as well. So a lot of different goal scorers as well throughout the squad, including, of course, Michelle Abermang, who scored in the FA Cup back in January. Good to see her on the score sheet. And, of course, more recently, Beth Mead as well getting back on the score sheet, which we'll come on to as well a little bit later. So, I mean, obviously there was 22 wins out of 37 games, which isn't maybe as many as we maybe hope there would be, but I do think there's been 1 or 2 reasons as to why maybe the win number was not quite as high this year. We know the injuries that we had, but of course we did win the Continental Cup, which we will talk about obviously a little bit more. I mean, overall then, obviously in terms of the WSL year, we started the year in second place. We finished the year in second place, so you could say there hasn't been too much sort of changes really, but obviously the league title challenge kind of fell away towards the end of last season, which we spoke about in the summer. And this season, we've had some good moments and some bad moments, of course, at either end, haven't we? Defeating our first game and defeating our most recent game as well. So, but a lot of wins in between. I mean, Andreas, what have you made of the year overall? Because obviously we did win a trophy, and our first trophy for 4 years. So it's definitely worth celebrating. It was beating Chelsea as well. We'll talk about that a bit more. But what did you make of the year as a whole for the Arsenal women? Do you think it's been a year of progress?
Yes. If you ask whether this was a perfect year, so I would say no. But a year of progress, yes, definitely. We developed, and the circumstances, at least in the second half of last season, were terrible. I can't remember another team that had such an injury crisis over a whole season. And what we made out of this terrible injury crisis and the season is we finished third in the league. This this gave us the qualification spot for Champions League. Of course, we didn't make anything of it, but it was a success to finish third in the league. And and the togetherness, the resilience of the team, and how they found together as it's more than just a football team. It's a familiar atmosphere, and you can feel it in every statement from the players that they feel together and like family, like never before, where they played in other clubs or other teams. So this is a major point of the last season, and the progress, I think, is the way we play, the tactics and the development of the team. Of course, we had a sloppy start in the new season, but there are reasons for this. We discussed it with the World Cup and nearly no break for all the players who were in semi-final of the World Cup. Of course, disappointing start with the Champions League qualifiers and the defeat in the first match of the WSL season. But then the team showed development and showed progress, and the results were really, really good until the last week. The last week of the of the season was, of course, disappointing again. And as I say, sometimes football writes stories you wouldn't believe. We started this season with a 3-3 and a penalty shootout in a cup competition and a 1-0 WSL, and we finished with a 3-3 in a cup competition with penalty shootout and a 1-0 defeat in the league. It's crazy, but this happens, and between these results, we had a very good first half of the new season. The new players coming in, they fitted in very well. The team developed, and I think overall it was, as you said, a year of progress. It was a year with one trophy, with the Conti Cup, and this was a really great moment, a special moment for everybody involved. So overall, it was a good year, not the perfect year, but a good year for the Arsenal women.
Yeah, it was, and I mean, I think that obviously this time last year, I think all of us here would have been hoping that the team would win a trophy first of all, and we did that. So that was one big tick against us the year, wasn't it? Because I think it had been a long time since we'd won anything, and I think that was really important that we did end that run and get a trophy, especially for Jonas, his first trophy as manager. I think that was important as well. So obviously, in terms of, yes, it was maybe out of the 3 trophies we could have won. At this point last year, I guess that was the least important one, maybe, but it could prove to be the most important because it was the one that we did win. And if it's going to be the springboard to better things, then you have to win something, and we did. So that was a positive, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. In a way, I can agree that it has been a year of progress, but equally, we're sitting here almost in the same position we were this time last year. We're still trailing Chelsea in the league. The only difference is we've got a trophy, and we've had a real positive impact with the new signings that we've made in the last year, the 2 transfer windows. We'll talk about them as well. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it has been a year of progress in terms of the way we're playing, the style of football, the strength in depth that we've now got from this time last year. So yeah, it has been progress. Maybe not as fast a progress as we would have hoped for, but I mean, Emma, do you think it's been a good year overall? Well, obviously, there's things we need to do better this coming year, don't we? Which we'll talk about that as well. But do you think it's been a year of progress overall?
Yeah, well, it's had its ups and downs. It's been a way of challenges more, hasn't it? If you think about it, it would have thought unprecedented. You need 4 key players losing to knee injuries. That's just unheard of, isn't it? And when you look at other teams, they've hardly had any injuries, that same number of injuries in so many years. And yeah, it goes to show that, as Andreas was rightly referring to, the togetherness of the squad has been there. They're wanting to play for each other and play for the fans, cope against adversity. I praise the resilience of this squad. It's not just with the women's team, but with the men's team as well. It's installed all throughout, and I think it's not. I don't know where they find it from, but yeah, it's just that they want to play for their teammates, and it has had plenty of ups and downs, mostly downs, but I've been very. It's been a challenging watch at times, and you have to put into perspective what's been happening. But they always give it their all, and they're always willing to work hard for one another and work hard for the manager. The manager can sometimes let us down a little bit with the tactics as well. And we saw recently in the game against Spurs, for example, and we just need to be a bit more consistent overall. If we can just be that more consistent and keep producing. It's not easy to produce week in, week out, especially with all that talent missing. But if we can sign well in January and keep that consistency going, who knows what might happen next year. But it's been good to see that they've stuck with each other through the hard times, thick and thin, and they're shown in the football. New players have been bedded in well, and it's produced good results. So if you'd have said, "Oh, we get a trophy, finish here, Champions League semi-final," I think a lot of people would have snapped your hand off with that. No, if you'd have said, "Oh, well, we're going to happen this year." So no, whilst it's had its ups and downs, it has been a year of progress, and the players have definitely shown what it means to play for the badge. So it's been good to see.
Yeah, I mean, it has. I think it's been in some ways maybe there's been quite a lot of transition, hasn't there, in the season as well. What with the injuries, we've made a lot of new signings over the 2 transfer windows in January and in the summer, and I think that there's been quite a lot of turmoil at the club in many ways. I say partly due to the injuries that we suffered, the fact that our league. In fact, in 2023, we lost 6 games in the WSL. Out of those 9 defeats, 6 were in the WSL, and when you think that. Since Jonas took over, we've only lost 8 games in the WSL, and 6 of them came in 2023. It kind of goes to show the transitional, maybe, nature of the year and the turmoil that we had to suffer in terms of the injuries and the, players having to play out of position. Some players who maybe played more games than they generally would have done, and it's this kind of stuff. And I think that's the reason for that. But hopefully, now we're starting to see a much more settled squad. And a settled group of players. And I think that you saw that the way we finished the year. Okay, we'll forget the Tottenham game for a minute, but the way we finished the year suggests to me that we're going to be more settled now going forward into the new year. Maybe some new signings might come as well. We'll have to see. But yeah, I do think it has been progress. Maybe not quite as fast a progress as we hoped for, but I do think there are reasons for that. As we've mentioned, the injuries mainly, and the fact that we was basically thrown such a difficult hand with the injuries just before the turn of the year, and of course the couple that came later on as well afterwards. So it's been tough, but we've it has been positive overall. And a trophy, you can't not winning a trophy. That's brilliant. Terry says, good evening, Richard, international man of mystery, Andreas, and 8 o'clock Hamar at 7:30. Yeah, he's on time today, which is good. Hope you want to have a great Christmas. It was very good. Andreas didn't quite have Christmas, but anyway. Dan's in the chat as well. LG says 9 losses when Chelsea only tend to lose just 2 in a year. Not great. Yeah, I mean, obviously our 9 losses were in all the competition. 6 WSL, and you're right, Chelsea lose 2 or 3 in a calendar year, if that, don't they? So you can see that's something that we need to put right into 2024 if we're going to be successful domestically, definitely. And it's something that they'll have to look at, and I'm sure that we will. So let's see. Terry says there, come on, chat, hit the like button early for the guys on the panel. Let's show them some love like we do at the Arsenal. Yeah, give us a like if you're enjoying what we do. Yeah. Greg says, all things considered, it's been a very good year. Yeah, and I think all the things considered need to be taken into account. And that's obviously hampered our progress a little bit more than it maybe would have done. Heather says, hi, everyone. I think Steph Catley needs replacement. You think Steph Catley needs replacing? No, she doesn't need replacing.
Steph Catley needs replacing?
No, no. Terry says, 100% agree. He agrees.
Back in the world.
And what we've got to remember is we're the Arsenal. Nothing ever goes completely smoothly. Well, that's very true. That is very true. We have to do things the hard way. And this year, we certainly had to do things the hard way, didn't we? It was challenging at times, wasn't it, for everybody? And I think that, we've mentioned it already, the togetherness of the team. And I think maybe the fact that we had all this adversity to deal with helped pull everybody together, because we had to. We had no choice. We had to all pull together to get anything sorted. And in the end, we managed to win that trophy as well. And I don't think we can underestimate how important that is for this group of players. And I say, moving forward, the confidence that we got. We saw in a recent game against Chelsea, we've got confidence that we can beat Chelsea now, because we beat him in that cup final, and we show that we can beat him again. And I think all these things are positives moving forward. And, although it's been a tough year, although there's been a lot of disappointments, a lot of defeats, more defeats than we've had in a calendar year probably for a very long time, maybe ever, I don't know, without checking all the previous years. It seemed a lot of defeats, to be fair. But despite all of that, there's a lot of positives that we can pull out of it all to going forward into the new year. I mean, if we look at the WSL, obviously that's the majority of our games are in the league. The WSL, that's the bread and butter, isn't it? You know, and obviously we finished third in the end, which I think maybe we was a little bit disappointed because we were second at the turn of the year. We were battling away with Chelsea. We maybe felt we could have gone on even despite our injury issues. And I suppose it was satisfactory. And again, the start of this season, we're sitting third now, aren't we? As it happens, because Man City gone above us on goal difference that last week. So it seems like in the WSL, we seem to have stood still a little bit. Again, there's reasons for that. But it's been, there has been, I say, those signs of progress that we can see. I mean, Andreas, in terms of the league then, obviously, we did come third. We got the Champions League spot, even though it didn't work out, as we know. And we've started this season, 2 defeats already isn't ideal when you look at generally how many defeats you can get away with. But I think the WSL year has been a little bit stagnant for me. We've made progress overall as a club, but maybe in the WSL, I don't feel we've made as much progress as I expected us to. Really, would you agree, or do you think maybe that we have progressed in this last year in domestically?
If you only look on the results in WSL, of course, we didn't the best season, but we just said it. It was the injury crisis, and then a lot of new players. No real summer holiday for the players. The comment with the 9 defeats compared to Chelsea's 2 defeats. That's right. That makes the difference. That's why Chelsea always wins the title or wins the league and the FA Cup, because they win their games. I said it very often in our show. Chelsea doesn't play good. They didn't play a good season so far, but they are winning their matches. And if we don't play good or have a weaker match, then we lose. We lost against Liverpool. We lost against Spurs. Chelsea doesn't play well, and they win 2-1 or 3-2 or something like that. That's the difference. And I think in this connection, we have to develop, or we have to make progress, that we are able to win the big matches. We are able to beat Chelsea and City. But now we are losing against the mid-table teams. So WSL, it was not our best year, and we now have to concentrate on these matches against the mid-table teams and win the matches before them. We say this is a must-win. We need the 3 points. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-0 or 5-0. We need the 3 points. We need to win these matches. Unnecessary points, and that made our season so difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're right. And we did lose too many of the games that we couldn't afford to lose, I suppose. Ultimately, that's what's cost us. Of course it has. And this season seems to be a similar story to a certain degree. You know, we've lost games that we shouldn't have lost and could cost us, but we'll see. Funnily enough, we've beaten the top teams that we've played this season, and we've lost to 2 of the teams that we would have expected to have beaten. And a bit like when we lost to Birmingham a couple of years ago, isn't it? It's a similar kind of situation. We're losing games that we shouldn't lose and winning the games that we're not expected to sometimes win. So, I mean, obviously, in terms of domestic kind of league, then for 2023, it's been, I think, hit and miss, and we know the reasons for that, and we're not going to. We can't dismiss the reasons, but it has been quite hit and miss, hasn't it, in the WSL over the year 2023. 6 defeats is far too many in a calendar year if you want to be successful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I agree. Yeah, it's not been brilliant to us. There's a couple of those defeats were coming towards after Champions League, and when we had all those key players missing, the Chelsea and Villa the last 2 games, there were reasons for those. Okay, we lost to Man City where our record's terrible there. I mean, if we're going to win the title, those are the games you have to at least get points out of, and we've shown that as well. It's shown that you have to at least get something. It's a tough place to go. We have to attend. You have to at least try to get results out of those games if we're going to go all the way. Yeah, Chelsea and lost twice. I mean, okay, it's easy to say, fine, the squad depth is great, but also you have to factor in they don't have the same injuries we have. And they've lost. I've had one of the Guru Ryan's missed some of this injury, but they haven't lost like the likes of Lauren James or Jesse Fleming or Sam Kerr, and they haven't had the similar serious injuries. So yeah, whilst they've only lost twice, fine. Okay, the only other team to beat them, I think, this season and this year, this whole year was Barcelona. So it goes to show, it hasn't been great for us. Yeah, we were on a great run, and it just goes to show we can lose to teams like Liverpool. Yeah, it is frustrating, as you say. We were on a great run. We had a good chance to carry on against Spurs. But I think a lot of it is the players try their hard, but I just think the manager needs to rethink his tactics in a bit more. Sometimes he does let us down with his tactics, leaving players on the bench longer than they should, and bringing on players. Like the classic example was against Spurs when he brought on Viv. It was crying out again, like the Bristol City game early in the season, for somebody like Stina to come on, and he's like, I hope she stays with us, but if she continues to be warm the bench, for example, I don't know if she'd want to stay with us, because that game is crying out for her to. That sort of game is crying out for her to make a difference. And without her, with her on the pitch, I think we would have definitely got something out of that game, for example. So whilst the injured players have to come back, I'll be interested to see if they sign in January. I think they may be linked with one or two players, but if they're going to compete for the title, they will be. Kim Little wasn't playing in that game, but we chose that she's an integral player for us as well. But you have to be almost perfect. You can't afford slip-ups in what's only a 22-game season. It's not like it's not really comparable to the men's with 38 games, where you can maybe have an odd bad result. In this one, you have to be almost perfect when you're coming up against teams like Chelsea and Man City. So yeah, it has not been great on that front, but we are capable of going on a good run, and we got our key players coming back. So hopefully we don't have a similar injury crisis in 2024 to the one we had in 23. But it goes to show that you cannot really afford to have any poor performances at level. Otherwise, then you're relying on other teams to drop points, and then the pressure's on straight back on you. So there are lessons to be learned. It is good. I don't know whether Jonas will rethink his tactics going forward, but I mean, it's obvious that when the things aren't going right, he has to be a bit more decisive in that regard, and then the players will be able to respond in the way that we want and maybe expect of them. So going forward, that's a lesson to be learned. But overall, I'd say it's been mixed progress, but there's definitely a lot to learn going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I agree in that Tottenham game, because Viv, as great a player as we know she is, and she's not match ready yet. You could clearly see she wasn't match ready yet when she's played in the previous games that she'd played in. And to throw her on so early against Tottenham, and she never had any impact in that game at all, none whatsoever. And that's not her fault. She's not match fit, and she needs minutes to get match fit. But in a game when you're losing 1-0, what you've got to do is you've got to bring on a player who's most likely to get you the goal. And Steve, our top scorer, is more likely to get us a goal at this moment in time than Viv is, because Viv isn't quite match sharp yet, because she hasn't played for a year. So of course she's not. And she came on. I thought that was, again, I'm not blaming her. I thought that was her worst ever performance in an Arsenal shirt for that half an hour that she played, because she wasn't sharp. The ball was running off her foot. She was just, she was getting tackled constantly. She couldn't go past players. Her passing was off. And, she clearly wasn't ready for that level of competition at that time, for that long in a game. Maybe bring her on 5-10 minutes to go. She might have nicked us a goal. She got an equaliser at Spurs a couple of years ago in the last minute. But I thought that was the wrong decision to bring her on that early, when we've got a top scorer who'd scored in 4 of her last 5 appearances. Stuck on the bench till 10 minutes to go. Crazy. That should have been the other way round. Everybody could see that. And yes, obviously Jonas has to take responsibility for that. And I agree, he's done that a few times, made the wrong substitutions, not changing things early enough. He did it against Liverpool when we lost as well. And it's all very well saying, look, I'm going to keep faith in this group of players. It's this start 11 that I've got. But sometimes you've got to look at it and say, you know what, we need something different, and we need to do it earlier to give us a chance. I think at those substitutes, Stina didn't have any impact in the game. She was only on for 10 minutes. But had she come on after 60 minutes with half an hour to play, she may well have got us a goal, because that's what she's done so often. So, yeah, I think that particular defeat was definitely on Jonas, 100%. He needed to do better in his game management that particular day, and that could prove costly at the end of it. But over the course of the year, I don't think we can have too many complaints, because of the injuries that we had. A lot of the times he was forced into certain changes. He was forced into playing players that wouldn't ordinarily have played and stuff like that. So I don't think we can blame Jonas overall, but certainly for that one game, 100%, it was his. He was definitely responsible for us losing that game in the end. 100% he was, and that's a shame. Hada says, Emily Fox, Mary Earps to Arsenal in January. I'm not sure if Mary Earps is coming in January. Emily Fox has been mentioned. Whether that's going to be January or summer, we'll have to see. But let's wait and see. January transfer window open soon, so it's exciting times to come now. LG says, I'm not a big Jonas fan, as I feel he is wasting this immensely talented group of girls, but I'll give him a pass for now. I mean, I do think that we need to bear in mind the injury issues that he's had, and even now, Viv's still not back to her best. She's a key player, massively key player for us. So I do think that there are certain extenuating circumstances that we can give Jonas a little bit of a free pass. I agree, but you're right. Once we start getting our players back fit again, he's got with the group of players that we've got. He's really got no excuse. We can't make excuses for him if we don't be successful with the players that we've got. We have to. So you're absolutely right. There won't be any more excuses in 2024. I'm sure we won't have the same injuries that we had, and it's just a matter of getting it to work. Terry says the girls stuffed Chelsea and went and blew it against Spurs. That's true. Yeah, I think this little break will do the girls. Yeah, I do think that the breaks come at a good time for us, maybe. Had we beaten Spurs with the momentum that we would have had having beaten Chelsea the week before, maybe you could say the break was a bad time. But I think now it probably has come at a good time. We've got a chance to regroup. Hopefully, Viv can get a little bit fitter, and I mean, Beth's back now to a normal Beth anyway, so that's fine. And, maybe we can start to get going again in January. Let's hope so. LG says, don't forget, in the 6 WSL losses in 2023, 3 of those were against Villa, Liverpool and Spurs, which we always tended to win, especially in the Joe Montemuro era. We nearly lost to Leicester. I mean, yeah, that's true. You're right. Those 3 defeats are games that we would expect to have won. Absolutely. 100% I expected to win all 3 of those games, and we didn't for one reason or another. The Villa game right at the very end of last season, the title had gone, the top 3 was already guaranteed. Maybe we wasn't quite focused as much on that game. We'll excuse that one. But Liverpool and Spurs, yes, that's 6 points we've dropped. 100% we've thrown away. We shouldn't be losing to those teams. And yes, there were circumstances. Liverpool game, we know. Spurs was just a total disaster of a game, really, let's be honest. But yeah, that is something, we've done pretty well against the better teams generally. Yes, Man United, we've still struggle against. We've got a draw with them, obviously, this season. We lost at Man City. We lost at Chelsea. But yeah, I think overall, those 3 defeats, you're right. They aren't games we should be losing. Absolutely, definitely not. Terry says they're spot on, Emma. Jonas leaving change is far too late for me, and Stina not starting is criminal. I agree 100%. I do. Hannah says, why not play Stina, keep Viv, or sell her? Well, no, we don't want to sell her, but we need to keep Viv. But she just needs to get fit again. She needs minutes on the pitch to do that. But we've got to look. You've got to manage the game right, haven't you? LG says there the one game in 21-22 against Birmingham when we lost. The league was totally on Jonas. I've seen this movie before. Yeah, again, maybe that was the game, wasn't it? When Leah Vulti got injured in the warm up, wasn't it? And she pulled out at the last minute, or she was ill or something. I can't remember.
Caitlin weren't available either, as well. I remember. Yeah,
and I'm not saying that Jonas can be completely forgiven for that defeat, but you're right. That was a costly defeat, and we should have been better in that game. Absolutely 100%. But let's see. I agree. I think we need to make some extenuating circumstances for what happened in 2023 to a certain degree. And yes, you're right. No more excuses. No more excuses going forward. We've got to put those mistakes right, and hopefully 2024 will be an even better year. It hasn't been a bad year. Let's not get too down on that top. Because I know we're still annoyed about that, understandably so. But it's been a good year. So why don't we celebrate? Why don't we celebrate the good things, mostly good things about 2023? And let's have a look at some of the awards, shall we? Now, there's a lot of different opinions I'm sure we'll have to choose from here. So why don't we start with this particular award, which, again, I think there's 2 or 3 big shouts for this one. But let's see what you guys think. So the first award then, the moment of the year. Now in the picture, obviously I did put the 60,000 sellout at the Emirates for the Wolfsburg game, which I think was a big moment, not just for Arsenal women, but I think for women's football in this country, to be able to have a club sell out the main stadium was an incredible achievement for everybody involved at the club and all the supporters, everybody that was a part of that. And I do think that's a big moment in the year for women's football, not only so maybe bigger than just Arsenal, but for me, that would get my vote probably as the moment of the year. But there's been so many, so I'm sure you guys have got otherwise. I mean, Andreas, what would be your moment of the year? So many great moments we could pick from.
Yeah, my moment of the year is, of course, the winning of the Conti Cup in March. I was live at the stadium, and the whole match just winning. But then when the final was blown and we have won a trophy, and against Chelsea, and then Kim and Leah lifted the Conti Cup together. This was an unforgettable moment for me, and I think it meant a lot for the team, for the girls in this situation with the injuries. So definitely this is the top moment of the year. But I also wrote down the Mido comeback against Villa in October was just a great moment for the fans, for the team, for Beth, but for everybody to celebrate this together. And if you say that her comeback, you also must mention her scoring a goal against West Ham after 428 days at home. This was also a very special moment. And and when you mentioned the sellout against Wolfsburg, I'd say maybe more at least a more impressive sign is selling 59,000 tickets for a normal WSL match.
Yes.
And this was also, I think, a big sign for all women's football in England. And it was a normal league match. And look in other countries, it's impossible to sell 59,000 tickets for a normal league match. So this is one more great moment of the year. The top moment, winning the Conti Cup.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was a fantastic moment. It was brilliant and I do feel as though the first trophy under any new manager is a big moment as well, because that's where the belief comes from. And so many managers have won maybe a League Cup as their first trophy and gone on to win bigger and better things on the back of that. So that was a fantastic moment. There's no doubt about that. And that's a great choice. Absolutely. I mean, Emma, what would be your moment of the year? And I said there's been quite a few. I mean, Andreas obviously mentioned a few there. There's been a lot of good. I know we've mentioned sort of some disappointing moments of the year already, but there's been a lot of good moments as well, hasn't there? Individually good moments.
It's funny, he took one or two of mine. I was going to say the Conti Cup, but actually mine was actually going to be Beth Mead's comeback after 11 months out. The reception being there and seeing her come on the 88th minute, and we were 1-0 down, and the reception she gets, and seeing the stuff on social media after. Not only that, but getting an assist and assisting her teammate Alessia Russo, England teammate as well, and inspiring an injury time comeback, and actually being there, physically being in the stadium, was probably my moment of the year as well. So that would be the one for me. And there have been so many other good moments, but her comeback, and then the scoring a goal against West Ham, dedicating to, of course, dear mom June, who of course the men's team did a tribute to after the North London derby win in January as well. That was good as well. So for me it was best comeback, and then inspiring that late comeback win over Aston Villa, and just being there in that stadium to witness that was just crazy, really.
I mean that was a fantastic moment. I mean, obviously Beth being back on the pitch was incredible, and of course, as we mentioned, that goal as well against West Ham, which we may get mentioned in one of the other categories a little bit later on. LG says that the Russo signing for me, revenge for RVP. Well, I mean, I suppose
Percy.
And obviously a great signing as well. Obviously Russo, brilliant there. Cornish Gooders says McCabe Banger gets my vote. I mean, maybe that might come up in another category as well a little bit later on, talking about goals of the year. Maybe she might get a mention, I'm sure, in there. Terry says there, surely Andreas, it was having Viva Mida around for dinner. That may be a good moment as well, isn't it?
You never know. You never know.
Yeah. Dan says we're going to have to put a big screen in the car park if we sell
Yeah,
more tickets. I think you've made it right. That might be the way forward, actually. We'll have to see. Greg says Bev scoring 2 goals in one game. Yeah, that was fantastic. Just getting 1 goal was a great moment on its own, but to get 2 in the same game, that was, you're right. That was a great moment as well. So many great moments, actually. It's good to remember them, isn't it, and look back on them and enjoy them. Cornish Gunner says, "Hi everyone. Hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. And yourself, my friend. Hope it's good. Hope Christmas was good to you down in Cornwall." Which is nice. So I think a lot of different options there for the moment of the year. I mean, it's tough to just pick one, isn't it, from all of those great moments, really. So we'll just enjoy them all. I think that's what we have to do. We'll enjoy them all because there's so many great ones, and I think all of those moments that we've mentioned really were quite important moments, wasn't they? Either for the club, for individual players, and just all great moments, and I do think that they all need to be celebrated as they should be. Dan says it's cold down here. It's cold everywhere. Mate, that's why.
Need to
move back to Spain. It won't be quite as cold in Spain, probably, but yeah, mate, you'd miss the women. Ask women, wouldn't you, if you was in Spain? Let's be honest. You need to stay here. The moment of the year, it's difficult to pick just one single moment, but there's so many there. There were good memories that I like to talk about them. That was really good. And maybe on a similar theme, and maybe you'll see from this one that maybe we might get some crossovers in some of these categories, but that's fine. We'll go for this one next. Obviously, the match of the year. That's why I maybe picked the sellout against Wolfsburg as the moment, because the match of the year for me would have to be the Conti Cup final, beating Chelsea, coming from behind. Getting one over on Emma Hayes is always nice, but more importantly than that, to end that trophy drought that we'd been on, and for Jonas to win his first trophy, I think really, really important moment. And, that whole game was just such a good Arsenal performance as well in such a big game. And unexpectedly, because we'd lost to Chelsea the week before in the FA Cup. So to go there in that second game, go behind and come back the way that we did was brilliant. And I thought that was probably our best overall performance of the season in such a game that matters, of the year, in a game that matters. So that would be my match of the year, closely followed probably by the Wolfsburg home game. Had we won, that would probably have sneaked it. Wolfsburg, but we didn't, so maybe that's why. But that was a great occasion as well, wasn't it? A great match, a brilliant match actually. But yeah, I think the Chelsea Conti Cup game for me would be match of the year. Andreas, what would be your match of the year? Would that be the same, or is there maybe others for you?
It's boring to say the same, but I don't think I don't know how you can top this. The Conti Cup match final against Chelsea was the match of the year, but to say other things or other great matches we had, for me, it's the Champions League quarterfinals, the home match against Bayern Munich. This was a very, very special win, and we had all these injuries before, and we lost Kim in this match. And I remember that I thought when Kim had to go out in first half, that's it, we're out now. But to come back and to beat one of the top teams in Europe, and the way we dominated, and it was fully deserved. I think at halftime it should have been 3 or 4-0.
Yes, true.
And this was, I think this match was also a milestone for the rest of the last season. And so I would say, Champions League quarterfinals against Bayern is one of the top matches of the year for me. Of course, the sellout semi-final against Wolfsburg has to be mentioned. And as I mentioned before, Chelsea match in WSL with 59,000, also great matches. I would go for the Conti Cup final, of course, but if I had to choose another one, a different one, then it would be the Bayern Munich home match, which we won 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, LG's gone with that as well. Bayern second leg, can't really argue with that. was another amazing performance. We were 1-0 down going into that game as well, so we had a lot of work to do, and we did it brilliantly. And yeah, you're right, that was a fantastic game. That was a brilliant performance, and that was another brilliant night, wasn't it? At the Emirates that we had. Greg's gone the way we destroyed Chelsea 4-1. His reaction, yeah. I mean, obviously that was an amazing performance by Arsenal as well. That was a great game, wasn't it? So yeah, that's obviously one of the games of the year. Absolutely 100%. Terry, maybe that's your moment of the season. Super Jen's goal, obviously against Wolfsburg, which was a great moment actually to make it 2-2 when it looked as though we were going out, and whoever scored that goal, it would have been great. Yeah. Obviously, it was Jen, so we'll give her that. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, they were all great matches as well. I mean, Emma, what would be your match of the year? Would it be the Conti Cup final or something different from you, maybe?
Yeah, I think you probably said again, taking the words up above there. We've got to be the Conti Cup final as well. Also, Champions League, both games against Wolfsburg, the comeback from 2-0 down, and the atmosphere being on that bank holiday Monday. But yeah, I'd say the 4-1 win over Chelsea was pretty good. Not just the way we played, but the way we took it to them. We actually annihilated them. Our 4-1 could have easily been 7 or 8. Okay, yeah. We didn't really we could have scored more goals in that game, but the way they played, everyone's linking up together. We know what it takes. We know we can take it to Chelsea. It's just about doing it against other teams. But yeah, the Emma Hayes' reaction to Amanda Illistett's goal going in, and also the fact she said she only had a 20-minute drive home after. That was quite funny as well. So yeah, no, that would probably be my match of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the moments of the year, maybe we missed it out, but maybe the moment of the year was actually Emma Hayes' reaction to that goal. that was a brilliant moment, actually. I think we all enjoyed that, didn't we? Actually, that should have got a mention in that category. I've sort of forgotten about that, but it's just that was amazing. That was brilliant. So yeah, that needs an honourable mention definitely for the moment of the year. I mean, that Chelsea game was fantastic. It's funny, isn't it? Because the wins over Chelsea always mean more, don't they? They're always more memorable because it's against Chelsea and they're the team that we're trying to catch and we're trying to overtake. So, yeah, obviously those are big wins. And, yeah, obviously the Continental Cup victory and that league victory, both of them, brilliant games. And, it has been a bit of a mixed year in terms of performances and results, but there's been so many great games thrown in there. And obviously that Bayern game, as we mentioned, was an amazing performance, an amazing result. And yeah, there's so many great games as well. So yeah, I think we pretty much covered them all there, haven't we? I don't think there's too many more games that we'd need to mention in that category, would we? But I think overall the game of the year has to be the Continental Cup because the final, because we won a trophy, and that's what was so important. So I think that probably just shades all the others, as good as they all were as well. We've got Anika in the chat there. How you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Terry says, any defeat for exactly, that's what we're saying. Any against Chelsea is absolutely a brilliant moment. We love doing that, and we've had a couple of big ones this year, haven't we? Chelsea twice in big games, so that's nice. And let's hope there's a couple more to come in 2024 as well. A few more wins over Chelsea before Emma goes. Let's at least beat them one more time before Emma leaves.
It'd be nice if it's at Stamford Bridge, which I'm thinking it's going to be. They're saying it's going to be at Stamford Bridge, so that'll be good as well.
At least one more win over them before the end of the season. Well, no doubt we'll play them in a cup as well. We're bound to. We generally do, don't we?
Just another shout out for moment of the year as well. I thought I'd give an honourable mention to Katie McCabe, who went off injured in the Bayern game, thinking she's going to miss the Man City game 4 years. 4 days later, and then she goes and scores an absolute worldie.
That's true. Actually, that was incredible. That was the quickest ever comeback from injury ever, wasn't it? going off on crutches on a Tuesday night, whenever it was, and then scoring the winning goal on a Saturday. Brilliant. She's made of steel, isn't she, Katie McCabe? Definitely. LG says, to be fair, Emma was very candid and respectful to Arsenal this time around. I think she can see that this is the first time in a long while we're really level. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. She was much more respectful after the game, but I don't suppose she had much choice because we absolutely wiped the floor. What else could she say, really, other than show Arsenal respect because we played so well? But yeah, you're right, she did, and fair play to her. But you could see inside she was absolutely burning, weren't she? All the way through that whole press conference, it was quite good to see. But no, she was respectful. That's fair enough. Deep down, she loves Arsenal. She does. She was at the club for a long time. She helped us win a lot of trophies. And, I think she's got a little bit of bitterness there that she's not the manager of Arsenal, but we'll let her off because she's going and she's done well for herself. As long as we beat her again before the end of the season, that'll be absolutely fine. Why don't we look next at This one here, because there's quite a few to choose from here as well, I suppose, but there's maybe two that stand out for me. But let's see what you guys think. So obviously the signing of the year, there was two transfer windows, two fairly successful transfer windows I think we had. Obviously with the picture that I put up there of Vicky Pelova, and I know most people are probably going to go with the other one that we signed in the summer, and I wouldn't argue with that necessarily. I just think that Vicky Pelova has been such an amazing player for us, and you can see what, she's still only very young, and what she's going to be bringing us over the next few years. I think her, particularly this season, it took a little while to settle in, to find her place, find her role in the team. She maybe was in and out of the team towards the end of last season when she joined, but what she's brought to us now, you can clearly see she's been amazing. And, there's been other great signings as well this year. And the fact that I think she's maybe been the standout one for me, that shows what a big impact that she's had, looking at the other players that we've signed and the impact that some of them have had as well. So I just feel as though, she's done so well. It's almost she's gone under the radar a little bit. The signing wasn't big dramas about it when we signed her. And no one really spoke much about her in last season. And even this season, she's playing really well. And still everybody's talking about Alessia Russo. People are still talking about Kyra Cooney-Cross. Great players and great signings. But Vicky's just kept going and doing her job, and she's been amazing. And for me now, she's almost first name on the team sheet. That's how important she is to this team at this moment in time. So for me, tough competition, a big category. I'm going to vote for Vicky Pelova just because I feel that she's grown so much through the year with us, and the progress that she's made. And I say, so young, what she can go on and achieve will be amazing. So, I'm excited about what she's done. I mean, Andreas, who would be your signing of the year? Because we did a lot of good signings this year, actually.
Yeah, I have three names on my notes. Of course, it's Alessia Russo, and it's Vicky Pelova and Kyra Cooney-Cross. I think these three stand out for me. And you could take each of them and say it's the signing of the year. Of course, to sign Leslie free of charge, and the impact she already has. She shows how important she is. She's more than a number 9. She's the work rate she has, and how much she in just a short time. I think Leslie is a really, really great signing. If you consider the whole year, you must say Vicky Pelova is a fantastic signing, and I don't agree that she had problems or needed time to settle in. In the first half of the year, she had to play out of position. She had to play on every position, but not on midfield. She was a winger. She was a defender. She on every position where we needed player, because we only had 11, 12 players fit, and then 100 in a very short time. There was no time to settle. So she had a very good start, and what she's doing in this season is just fantastic. She found her role in the midfield, and she's one of the best midfielders, at least in the WSL, maybe in Europe. And with 24 years young, great signing, Vicky Pelova. And of course, Kyra Cooney-Cross, the latest signing we made a few minutes before deadline. 21 years and young, and also an impact in every match she was in, or she started. She showed how important she already is. And what impressed me most is that she's always forward-oriented. She's never playing back passes or something. She always looks what's going ahead of me, and where can I find a solution, or where's the space where I can pass the ball. And I think her development will be extremely in the next years. Just think if she will be injury-free, Kyra at the age of 24, 25, she will be one of the best players in the world. So fantastic signing. So for me, the three names: Leslie, Vicky, Kyra, and you can choose any of them as the signing of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Terry just going back to Emma Hayes says, I was hoping she broke down on a 20-minute trip home. Maybe she did. That would have been funny, wouldn't it? We're never gonna know, are we? That would have been a moment of being waiting by the side of the road for the AAs to come and pick her up. Never mind. Terry has gone for Vicky Palova as well. Greg says Russo only 24, going to get better. Haven't seen her lose the ball very often. No, you're right. And Alessia Russo has grown and grown as the season's progressed. You know, her performances have become more and more important, haven't they? What she's bringing to the team. I suppose maybe I'm slightly. It's not her fault, absolutely not. And I love Alessia Russo, but I'm slightly annoyed that Stina has been pushed away a little bit to accommodate Alessia Russo when Stina doesn't deserve that, you know, with her performances, her goals that she scored and how brilliant she was at the end of last season. But you can understand why, because Russo is, as an all-round player, she's better. As a goal scorer, she isn't. And I think there's got to be a way of fitting them both in, maybe. But you're absolutely right. I mean, Alessia Russo has been a great signing for on a free transfer as well. I mean, wow, incredible. But you're right, yeah, she doesn't give the ball away. And as we said, she can fill in many different positions. Gunnar Dan says, Palova is my favourite player. She's just so consistent. Yeah, consistency, exactly she is. She's brilliant every game. Communist Gunnar says, Palova is great, but Russo has got alien-level skills in so many different areas. She hasn't even got going yet. Yeah, I agree. You're right. She hasn't really got going yet. She's starting to get more and more into it now, isn't she, as the games have gone on. You know, you can see her impact is much greater now than it was at the start of the season in the team. So, yeah, she's getting better and better. Terry says, Chloe looks a great buy. Yes, Chloe Lacasse. Not getting enough, again, a bit like Stina, not getting enough minutes. She deserves more minutes on the pitch because she's been brilliant. So it's difficult to maybe consider her as the buy of the year when she's not getting enough game time, but she does look incredible. You're absolutely right. LG says there, Vicky has added much needed physicality to our midfield. She's undroppable for me. I agree. We wouldn't have beaten Bayern or taken Wolfsburg to the limit without her. Yeah, she did play a big part in those games. You're absolutely right. And you're right. Yeah, for me, she's undroppable as well at the minute. She's brilliant. I mean, Emma, who would be your signing of the year? Obviously, there's been a few good signings that we've made. So you just got to pick one. Who would you go for?
Yeah, you've taken all out of mouth again. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, I would say it's got to be Vicky. She just settled into the squad so wonderfully, and you know, she just looks like she's just made to play for a cup. You know, they looking at her well from Ajax, saw the talent there during the Champions League qualifiers last year, and she's just like she's been just fitted in so wonderfully. Adds an extra layer to her attack. Links up well with everything. They've been supplying the passes for scoring the goals herself. You know, they've even put a bit of a high expectation on her. There was a BBC Sport article recently saying, "Oh, she could be the next Kim Little." I don't see why she can't be the next Kim Little. I know it's a big ask, but you know the way she started, used to say she can't become the next Kim Little. Although I don't know whether she'll be taken to be the regular penalty taker, but certainly she can maybe be a future captain of Arsenal. Who knows, maybe going forward. It depends, but. Yeah, I mean, she's especially that game against Leicester was a classic example when she was just all fantastic, and the build up to the first goal against Man City, there's nothing she can't do. And when Viv and Beth come back, it's almost going to be like, where do you play her almost? Because you could, she's almost undroppable for me right now. So yeah, no, she's been fantastic. Kyra's been excellent as well. She's added that extra layer to our midfield. You know, you even talked about when you got players like Leah Balti to learn from, you know, and you got Steph and Caitlin who you play with on a regular basis. I think she's been brilliant as well. So yeah, it would be those two as well. I think Chloe's been great too. So yeah, if I had to, I'd probably just give this to Vicky, but it could go to any one of those three really.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and that's a good sign, isn't it? The fact that we've signed players that are working out as good signings already, and some of them haven't even been here that long. I think that's a great sign going forward, isn't it? Because you know the transfer window can be quite a gamble, really, because you can't guarantee any players are going to work. Just because they might be a great player somewhere else doesn't mean they're going to work in your team. And the fact that we've made so many successful signings this year, for me, over the two windows as well, has been great. You know, I know Katarina Cole hasn't played as many minutes on the pitch as she would have hoped for, but she's a good signing, and I think she's a good one for the future as well. So I think there's a lot, isn't there? Which is, you know, what we want to see as well. Hada says there, Russo, she's a blessing for Arsenal. Well, no, I agree with you. She's brilliant. I just want to see. I don't want to see Stina getting pushed out as much. That's the only thing. You want to try and get them in the team together if we can. LG says there, Kyra Cooney, Cross and Palova are above Frida in the pecking order for me, but we know Jonas's documented love for Frida, e.g. the Spurs game. Yeah, I think they have gone above Frida in terms of what they bring into the team, but the one difference is Frida does bring the goals. As we said, she scored 14 goals this year from midfield, and that's a big amount. Our second highest goal scorer in the year, Frida is. So you can understand why she's on the pitch a lot, because she has got a goal in her. You know, for all her other kind of faults, if you like, you know, the fact that she often makes the wrong decisions in the final, gives the ball away sometimes too easily, and all these other stuff. She does offer a goal, and maybe that's why she does get more ahead of Kyra and Vicky, who don't score at the moment. They've not been scoring goals, have they? Vicky's got 2, I think, ever, and Kyra hasn't scored one yet for the club. So that's maybe why. But I'm sure as we move forward, I'm sure we'll see a transition there, and I'm sure we'll see Frida more on the bench, coming off the bench, having an impact, and Kyra and particularly Vicky. I mean, Vicky's starting every game anyway, so I can see that being the future moving forward. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Jonas obviously likes Frida because he brought her in. You know, he knew her beforehand and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that will change as things go. Gunnar Dan has gifted 10 memberships as well. Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. So there's 10 memberships going there. If you want to get involved, please do so. Terry says they're looking much more comfortable the more.
Amanda Ellis.
Amanda, I called you Amanda. Sorry, Amanda. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, I think she's. I think at the moment it's a little bit early to maybe call her one of our best signings of the year, but you know she's certainly playing well recently. I agree. Cornish Junior says, I hope Cool didn't get pushed sideways by Kyra Cooney Cross. Yeah, seems to be the case. That seems to be what's happened, doesn't it? You know, she's not playing in the squad as much. She's not getting many minutes now. And Kyra's come in, and obviously, I think Kyra's ahead of her, isn't she, in terms of ability at the moment? So that's why. But Katrina Cole needs to play more to build it up. But it's difficult now. We've said this before. We've got so many good players in the squad. Who do you pick ahead of other people? It's difficult, isn't it? Who do you leave out? Who do you pick? That's Jonas's job. He's got to figure it out, hasn't he? And let's hope that he manages to do it, because if he can get it right, we'll be, as we've seen against Chelsea, for example, we can be unstoppable. But we've got to do that more consistent, haven't we? But yeah, we've had some good signings this year. It's been really, really successful. Let's hope that January coming up now is going to be similar, because we need a couple more bodies, I think, in certain positions. And let's hope that we can get some in. And the January signings, maybe this time next year, we'll be looking back on some January signings 2024 and saying how great they were, like Vicky's been for us this year. So, yeah. I mean, there did seem to be quite a lot of votes in for Vicky, actually. So maybe Vicky's going to win that one. Although Alessia was the big name signing, if you like, and she's done brilliant. Vicky seems to have been getting more and more support in the chat and stuff like that as well. So maybe Vicky might just shade that as our best signing of the year. But yeah, it's great that we've got so many to choose from, because often you only have one signing that's worked out, or the one or two that's ever worked. So the fact we've got so many is great. So that's a good category, that, and some good results there. Why don't we look at, again, this could be. There could be 50 different options here, but let's go with this one and see what we think about it. Obviously, the goal of the year. We already mentioned, obviously, the goal I put the picture of there with Frida Myers against Bayern Munich, of course, which to me was an amazing goal. And it did kind of set us off on our way to that brilliant performance, that brilliant victory in difficult circumstances, as we've said. But obviously, Katie McKay's bound to get a mention somewhere along the way. She scored 5 goals this year, and most of them have been special, as they normally are. Most of her goals leave an impression, don't they? So I'm sure she's going to get some mentions as well. And there's been so many great goals, hasn't there? And I think that's, again, it's good to have so many options. When you're looking through these categories, sometimes you think, oh my God, I wouldn't know what to pick. But for us this year, there's loads of options in all the different categories, really. And that shows what a good year it's been overall. There's been so many great memories. Of course, Terry's got only one vote. Super Chair, of course he's going to vote. I would say that she should get the vote for the best goal celebration, barging over Alexandra Pop when she scored. That was probably, that's actually a moment of the year we didn't mention before. That was a great moment, wasn't it? When whether she meant to do it or not, I don't know, but that was a good moment, wasn't it? I wouldn't say that's the best goal of the year, but anyway, I mean, my vote personally goes to Frida Minam's goal against Bayern Munich, which was an incredible strike, a lovely little flick from Leah Williamson to lead to it as well, and a good move all round and a really good goal. But so many 80 odd, what was it? Was it 88 goals? I think I said we scored. So there's lots to choose from. That wasn't all good goals, obviously. And I don't know if you saw the video today. Arsenal put a video out of the top 10 goals that they put of the year. So that might have jogged your memory for a few. Obviously, Frida's was on that list, of course, as was a couple of Katie McCabe's. But I mean, Andreas, what would be your goal of 2023? So many great goals that we can pick from, really.
Yeah, so many great goals, and maybe the Frida goal against. And so maybe this is the one goal of the year. But yeah, there was also Katie against Mensa. What a goal! And also so important. It was the 2-1. It decided the match. It brought us back in. Yeah, at that time, it brought us back to the title race. But we know in the end, it secured us the third place. It was just a fantastic goal and moment. I was at Meadow Park when Katie scored this banger. Yeah, and don't forget Chloe against Man United, the 2-2 in stoppage time. I think this was also a fantastic goal. It was important for Chloe. I think this was her first goal for Arsenal, so important for her, and it secured us a very, very important point. Yeah, we had lost against Liverpool. We had the Villa match at next, and then away at United being down 2-1. So very, very important, and also a brilliant goal. And last but not least, on my notes, Beth Mead's goal against West Ham, the first one. Only so such a brilliant goal, and so typical Mido goal. So yeah, fantastic goals all over the year. But number one is Frida's against Bayern Munich with the back heel from Leah. As assist. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, no, it was the all-round move for that goal and a finish was just incredible. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, obviously, Katie McCabe's going to get a mention. Of course, she is. And that goal against Man City was an amazing goal and such an important goal as well at the time in the season where it looked as though the title race was going away from us, and to get that goal and to win us that game like that was incredible. So yeah, obviously that was an important goal, a fantastic goal as well. But yeah, there's been a lot of goals that have been great this year. So a few there was mentioned. I mean, Amar, what would be your favourite or best goal of the year, favourite goal of the year, whatever you want to look at it? What would you say?
Those were probably my top three, actually. Yeah, Frida's against Bayern, you had Katie's against City, and Chloe's against Manchester United as well. Yeah, I think Frida's is definitely up there. But I'd also like to give a couple of honourable mentions as well to Caitlin Ford's goal against Leicester. I mean, the build-up that was brilliant. The ball from Chloe, the first time ball from Leicester, and the finish in the top corner from Caitlin was absolutely world-class. That was a great goal as well. Also, the Steph Catley's goal against Man City at Meadow Park when Palova passes the ball with the left, Caitlin passes it to her with the left and just finishes it first time. Almost side foots into the top corner, and Kiara Keating has absolutely no chance. So I'd like to give honourable mentions to those two as well. But for me, yeah, I mean, the way it started, the way it followed, and the build up, and to be a goalkeeper, to lift it almost, it's like a. She had how would you describe it in golf when you're just trying to land it softly onto the green or something? She picked out a perfect corner with a wedge. It was like a pitching wedge. She just pitched it straight into the top corner over a really world class goalkeeper in Marla Gross, and to hit the bar and go in on. And the reaction from Jonas after said, "Oh, it was an absolute banger." So yeah, no, that's definitely the goal of the year for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to disagree with that, actually. It was the technique on that. And it's something you could say, well, maybe it was lucky, but then she's hit several shots like that as well, hasn't she, Free? I mean, we talk about Katie McCabe scoring some bangers, but Frida Minam gets a few bangers as well, don't she, from distance and stuff like that. So she can hit one. LG's, in fact, gone there. Frida's goal versus Leicester last season. That was a good goal. Yes, it was. Frida's goal against West Ham this season as well. The one, obviously, Beth Mead took all the glory that day.
Oh, that was a cross. That was a cross, Richard.
No, that
was a cross.
Well, I don't know. I think she meant
Yeah.
But she has got a few great goals actually, Frida Mine. But you're right. That one against Leicester at home was a good goal. But that one that you mentioned, Caitlin Ford against Leicester, that was an incredible goal as well, wasn't it? Just the counter attack. Was it Chloe Lacasse played it up the line to Alessia Russo?
Yeah, first time.
Was it all across, and then what a finish! First time in the top corner. That was a fantastic team goal and a brilliant finish as well. But yeah, I mean, literally, we could go through and probably pick 10. I mean, obviously, they did on the website today, they put 10 goals on. But yeah, there were so many great goals. Corey's good says there, McCabe's got to win this one with a City goal. Yeah, obviously, that's, that's definitely in the top 2 or 3, isn't it? No doubt. That was a fantastic goal. Absolutely brilliant. Corey's good says there, Andreas, you need to pedal harder to keep your internet going. Yeah, it's been a bit hit and miss tonight, and there's a little bit of a delay as well. At Andreas's end, but, it's the bad weather. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
Jaffar's with us. He says, gutted being late for the show. Hope everyone's doing well. We're doing great, my friend. Hope you're well as well. You had a good Christmas and all that kind of stuff. You can always watch the beginning back on afterwards anyway. See all the other stuff that we've talked about. What have we got here? Jaffar says there, that Spurs game made me so mad I had to unfollow WSL. It's not the WSL.
Oh, come on. Unfollow.
On serious notes, we really need to have some serious conversation about Jonas's subs. The whole team was awful, by the way. Yeah, I mean, we mentioned a bit earlier that it was too late bringing the subs on, and it made the wrong change at the wrong time. We mentioned it earlier, and you're right, absolutely. We have had that conversation, and I agree with you, and we all agree with you. It was not great management, and I think that defeat will unfortunately land on Jonas's shoulders. Most defeats are the manager's fault generally, but that one in particular wasn't too great, was it? So yeah, and Terry's gone there. Super Jen's penalty against Spurs.
He's always going to go with Jen.
It's hardly the goal of the year, but it may have been one of the moments of the year, maybe. Super Jen's penalty beating Spurs. Yeah, I mean, why not? That was pretty good, wasn't it? Let's be honest. But yeah, I think the two main contenders have to be obviously Frida's against Bayern Munich and Katie McCabe's against Man City. I think they were the 2 best goals of the year, and it seems harsh to pick one over the other, really. But I do think Frida's was maybe slightly better. But that's just my personal opinion because I like the technique of it, really. Although, having said that, I mean, Katie McCabe hitting that strike of her left foot in the top corner, you can't really argue with that either, can you? So they probably both deserve maybe joint winners of this one. But it's again, like all these categories, it's good to have so many options, isn't it? Because imagine if there was a year and we were sitting here thinking, well, what's the best goal? There's only one option for that ever. At least this year, there's 4, 5, 6 different goals we could have picked, and we mentioned most of them already. So, we have scored some good goals this year. And yeah, but those two probably stand out above all the rest. And yeah, Caitlin Ford got one against Spurs as well, didn't she? Away, which curled into the bottom corner, which was a good goal. But I thought Stina's against Tottenham as well, actually, when she chipped it over the keeper was a good goal.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, there's so many. But I think we'll stick with those two. I think those two are the best two. And we will enjoy the fact that we scored so many great goals. I mean, just hang on, what we've got here. Corey's good, says Rich. I just don't think you understand. Okay. Well, no, I mean, I'll say we'll give her a joint first. I just think that Frida goal was something special. Yeah. Now, obviously, we've been looking at some good things and some great moments as well, which is good. But you can't really have an award ceremony without throwing in one maybe not quite so happy thing. So we'll have to look at what our options are for this particular award, unfortunately. So here's the biggest disappointment of the year. Again, I've gone with the picture that I put there, which was Leah Williamson's injury, which came, a couple of weeks before the Champions League semi-final and, of course, the World Cup as well. And I do feel as though that was such a big moment, such a big disappointment, having already suffered the loss of Viv and Beth as well to ACL injuries earlier in the season. To have Leah Williamson suffer the same injury at such a crucial point in the season, for me, that was the worst one of the three. Not because she's more important as a player, although she is, probably. Just the fact that it was the third one in such a short space of time, and we had such a big games coming up with the semi-final. We were still battling to try and win the league at that point, and of course, I say the World Cup to come as well. So that was a horrible moment seeing her go down. We all knew straight away pretty much. It looked as though it was probably, when you saw the replay of her going down, it looked, that's ACL. We all kind of felt that, and that was, for me, that was the biggest disappointment, because I do feel a fit Leah Williamson in those two semi-finals could have made the difference of us going through and not going through. That's how important she could be. And obviously the World Cup, who knows if England could have won that World Cup if Leah had been fit and not suffered that injury. So for me, by quite some distance, yes, losing a semi-final to Wolfsburg, a massive disappointment, losing in the last minute of extra time, that was heartbreaking. But for me, head and shoulders above every other disappointment was that Leah Williamson ACL injury against Manchester United for me all day long. But let's see, Andreas, what would you say would be your biggest disappointment of 2023?
There you go. Are you frozen, or can you?
Yeah, you already mentioned it. The injuries and the late goal against Wolfsburg in extra time, but disappointment of the year, being out of Champions League. I think nobody was expecting this, and
I agree.
yeah, I think this moment when we went out against, of course, Paris FC is not a bad team, but they are not one of the top teams in Europe. We should be able to beat them, and we know the circumstances and everything around this. But apart from this, if you just ask for the biggest disappointment of the year, it's just the fact that we didn't reach group stage in Champions League. Of course, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that we have the chance in Conti Cup to give our big squad, all the players, to give them minutes, and the younger players to develop in Conti Cup. Yeah, maybe that's good, but for a club like Arsenal, being out in the qualification rounds of Champions League is just disappointing. So yeah, let's take this one for this award.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and obviously that's a big disappointment. I think we're all shocked by the fact that when we saw the team we had to play in that little qualification group, I think we kind of felt we would go through without too many problems. And yes, Paris are a better team than we maybe gave them credit for. You can see by what they've done to get into the group stage and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a big disappointment. But I still say, had Leah Williamson been fit, we probably would have lost that game. And we won't know, obviously, it's impossible to say, but she's such a big player. Had she been fit, maybe if we'd won the World Cup in the summer with her playing and then the lift from that, would that have taken us through? I don't know. But yeah, you're right. That was a massive disappointment. Absolutely no question about that. And, you know, that was a shock, wasn't it, more than anything else? It was such a shock that I think everyone expected us to win that game without too many problems, and to get knocked out like that I was in shock for about a week after that. I just couldn't even think straight. It was ridiculous.
No, I agree.
So yeah, I suppose that probably was a bigger disappointment for the club overall. Yes, you're probably right. Actually, that one probably was. LG agrees with you there. European Champions League qualification exit for me by far, especially given the progress we made last season after the semi-final. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? We'd reached the semi-final. We were unfortunate not to get to the final. To not even make the group stage is incredible, really. Amazing that we didn't do that. But yeah, you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe that one should have got the vote for me, actually, as well. I mean, Emma, what would be your biggest disappointment? Would it be that Champions League exit? It's difficult to maybe argue with that now, isn't it, really?
Yeah, probably. Just the manner of happening. I mean, people will say it was only a couple of weeks or so after the World Cup. There's not much time to prepare. But yeah, when you look at some of the goals we conceded as well, it wasn't befitting of a team that was reached the semi-finals, and ultimately we should have had in too much for them. Okay, yeah, we took it to penalty. We needed injury time and extra time even then. But to do the manner of that, for a club like Arsenal, it's not good enough, and hopefully they'll learn from it going forward. Hopefully this season they don't have to worry about it. I don't think the format's changing. I think they're keeping that same format for next season, aren't they? But hopefully this time we can just finish at least finish second or so, or even win. And not have to worry about that many group stages, stay one knockout tie or even qualify straight through. But yeah, no, that was massively disappointing. Injuries, regardless, we should have had too much for them, and we did, and we paid the price for being too how do I say it, too complacent in a way. So yeah, no, that has to be improved going forward. And yeah, along with the injuries, it's difficult to pinpoint anything else other than that was disappointing. But yeah, that has to be the number one disappointing thing for me this year.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult to argue, and I've got to be honest, because not only from the point of view of being in the competition, obviously the prestige of it, the money, everything. It's it's had a big impact on the club, I think, and yes, not at all what we was expecting. So yeah, I think it's difficult to argue with that not being the biggest disappointment of the year. Actually, I've got to be honest. Terry said I had no disappointment from the girls last season. Only TV and making the girls play too much football because of money. Well, yeah, I mean that's a very good point, and we can't really argue with it either. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that the TV deal overall is probably going to be a good thing because it's going to mean more money's in the game. But yes, it's what they do with it that's the problem, isn't it? And like you said, TV moving games here, there, and everywhere, kicking off at stupid times. We've mentioned this so many times, and that's more frustration and disappointment. Inevitably, it's going to happen as the game gets more popular. More money is going to come into it, and there's going to be those issues. So it's more frustration for me rather than actual disappointment. Just a little thing, slightly off topic. Man City are just losing at Everton 1-0 in the Premier League. By the way, Everton have just scored.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Don't worry about that.
So there you go. That might be quite good for us. But anyway,
we have to win tomorrow. The main thing is we win tomorrow.
Yeah, we have to win tomorrow. Yeah, of course we do. Yeah. I always say win our games and don't worry what other teams do. But if other teams want to lose as well, then that's fine. And if Man City want to lose another game, then we'll take that all day long. But yeah, they are losing 1-0. Everton have just scored. It was Jack Harrison after 29 minutes. So anyway, that's that there. But yeah, no, I think we have to all agree on that. Champions League exit, is a big disappointment. But for me, the biggest incident was that injury to Leah Williamson because that was horrible. Jeffar says there, for me, it was Beth and Viv, even though Leah in the injury was a huge blow. But I think if we had Viv and Beth on that Wolfsburg game, we would certainly go through as they were top class prior to injury. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if those two were fit, we would have probably gone through. Looking at how close we were anyway without them, absolutely 100%. But my view was they were already out for months before. Leah got injured a week before the first leg, so her injury was more impactful because we wasn't expecting to be without her, were we? We knew we wasn't going to have Viv and Beth, and as much as that was a big disappointment, we'd got used to that by then. We knew they wasn't playing. We was expecting Leah Williamson to be fit. We knew Kim Little probably wasn't going to be fit either because she'd got injured a couple of weeks before. But that was the biggest blow at that time. Yes, I agree. If all three of them had been fit, we'd have probably won the Champions League. Let's be honest. Let alone just get to the final. We could have won it, couldn't we? But, I just thought that Leah Williams injury had a big impact on that semi-final because the preparations building up to it would have been including her in the team because she was playing at the time and playing well. So, but yeah, you're probably right. LG says Zinsberger's regression is a dishonourable.
I don't know. It's been hard.
That's a tough one for me. It's a tough one for me. I do kind of think that you're right to a certain degree that she's not been playing as well as we hope that she's not. I think she's past her best. Let's be honest, and she's probably not going to get better than she is or than she has been. So, and I think that's why we're planning ahead. We brought Sabrina in. And obviously, Mary Earps is the big chat as well. There's a reason why we're after a goalkeeper. So, but let's not, let's not bring one player down too much. She's having a difficult time of it at the minute. So, and
her wife's expecting a child as well. So,
yeah, exactly. LG says Viv and Beth's injuries were in 2022. Yeah, no, they were absolutely, but I guess they had an impact in 2023, didn't they? In terms of what we could have achieved had they been fit in 2023, who knows? But yeah, the injuries were in 2022. You're absolutely right. So yeah, I think obviously the biggest disappointment has to be the Champions League. 100%, it has to be. David says, "I wish Arsenal had Hemp, a fantastic player." Yeah, 100%. I think we all would agree with you there. Lauren Hemp is brilliant, fantastic player, absolutely right. And I said this 2 years ago when they were at Arsenal. But it's not going to happen probably. But
contract runs out next year, so you never know.
Well, it'd be nice, but I'd love her at Arsenal, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. I really don't. Right, what have we got left? So we've done that one, that one, that one, that one. We've done that one. Oh, okay. So there is one left. The biggest award of the year. It's always the last one. It's always the big one. And who are we? It could be interesting, this actually. I think this could be a very, very split vote, not only from us here, but in the chat as well. This is the final award of the year, and it's the big one. Of course, it is the player of the year, the player of 2023 for Arsenal. Now, again, I think there's several candidates. Absolutely, there's several candidates. Again, my picture there was of Stina Blackstenius, who I think really, really stepped up to the plate in 2023 for Arsenal when she was really needed, when we had the injuries. You know, she had a very difficult end to 2022. She was coming in for a lot of stick, missing chances. And I thought in 2023, she stepped up in those games. You know, she scored big goals, semi-final, Continental Cup, final of the Continental Cup, quarter-final, both legs of the semi-final of the Champions League. She got big goals in big games. And going into this season, she's kind of been pushed down the order with Alessia coming in, but she's still coming off the bench, having an impact. She's our top scorer this season, 18 goals over the year that she's got. And when you think since the start of this season, most of her minutes have been here and there off the bench, and she still scored more goals than anybody else. So for me, my vote for Arsenal's player of 2023 will be Stina Blackstenius, but I understand there's lots of choices, so I'm not, I'm not saying that's the only option. Andreas, who would you go with? I mean, we've just got one here. Terry actually has gone with Lotta Wubben-Moy, and she's second on my list, actually. Lotta Wubben-Moy is second for me, but yeah, that's a great shout. So Andreas, who would be your player of 2023?
Once again, I have three names on my notes. The first one is if it was only one player, this wouldn't have been good. When you say, "Oh, that's one outstanding player and the rest was only average." No, we had a lot of players who had an outstanding year. The first name is Vicky Belova again. All over the year, I think she was fantastic. Her development, but also the way she settled in. And as I said before, she had to play out of position in the first half of the year. And now she found her position. And we said it before, she's undroppable now for the midfield. So I think Vicky is one of the players of the year. And the second one, I'm astonished that Terry mentions her because it's controversial to say Lotta. But for me, she's one of the players of the year. Especially her development in this season. She started every match, at least every WSL match, and she's getting better and better. And if you see how she performed against players like Banichon or the Chelsea attack with Sam Kerr, you're right. And yeah, I think of course she made some mistakes at least in the first half of the year. We all remember the one against Wolfsburg, but you also have to say if a player develops, and Lotta developed, she's now the boss in our defense, and she stepped up when needed. When there's no Leah, there's no Rafa, she's the one the others are relying on now, and she's the boss in our defense. Of course, one of the best players of the year. And the third name is Katie. If we mention consistency in the year, then it's Katie. I think she's starting nearly every match. She has maybe the most minutes of all players. And look at the goals she scores. You can play her as a left winger, left back. Now she plays as a right back. It's not her best position, but she's needed there. And she does her job, and her physicality is very, very important for the team. Of course, she got a few unnecessary yellow cards, and sometimes she has to lower her temperament, and it's a bit difficult, and it could be negative for the team if she gets booked very early. Then she has to be careful, something like this. So, but very, very good season, very good year, and one of these three, it has to be the player of the year. And if I have to decide, I'd go for Vicky Pelova. The other two are outstanding all over the year.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, you know, we mentioned Vicky before. I mean, for me, she was a signing of the year, so of course she's going to be in the running for Player of the Year as well. Absolutely. And Lotta, again, for me, was the level of consistency that she's shown this year when she's played a lot more games than maybe normally she would have expected to have played, with the injury that we got to Leah Williamson later on in the season as well. And, you know, the fact that she's grown in her responsibility in the team, you're absolutely right. And yeah, I agree. She's been brilliant. And of course, I mean, Katie McCabe, just Katie McCabe, you know what you're getting with her, don't you? She's going to give 1,000,000% every single game. And sometimes too much, as you said, you know, she sometimes doesn't. Yeah, she needs to calm that down. You know, we love her when she flies into tackles, and we love her when she gets involved in all the stuff that goes on. But sometimes it has cost us. She's had red cards before, and she does need to watch that. Yeah, we need to. She needs to calm that down. We're absolutely right. I mean, and again, it's good, isn't it, that it's difficult to pick one outstanding player for the year, because so many players have stepped up this year in difficult circumstances and really done a great job for the team. And yeah, it's great that we've got so many options. I mean, there you go. Andreas has given us 3 names. Astina's another one, so that's 4 different players. Is anyone in the chat got anyone else? Oh, here we go. Greg's gone Leah Walty. Look, without a doubt.
That's not a bad show.
So that's 5 players already. Got to mention 5 different players. That just shows the consistency of some of our team have had. Jafar's gone. Stina, without a shadow of a doubt. She got so much stick for her finishing. Yet last season she was our top scorer. In fact, I'm going as far to say she carried that attack, especially in the league. I thought the second half of last season, in particular, she got us through just the big games. You can always tell a player's mentality, how they get on in the big game, you know, the cup semi-finals, the finals, all that kind of stuff. You know, look at the goals that she scored, the big important goals last season that she scored at such big moments in those games. You know, the equaliser away at Wolfsburg in the semi-final, the winner against Bayern in the quarter-final. You know, she did score 2 in that second leg against Wolfsburg, 1 disallowed. I still don't know what it was disallowed for. Would have got us into the final. So, you know, she stepped up when it mattered, scored in the equaliser in the Conti finals, as winner in the semi-final. So many big goals, For me, all day long, Stina. And I get frustrated when she doesn't start games now. And when she's coming on for 10 minutes at the end of a game, it frustrates me, because she deserves better than that for her performances throughout the year. She really does. And what she's brought to this team, you know, she's coming off the bench and she's still focused and she's still working and she's still doing her job. She's still getting goals. And yeah, it's a shame that she's not playing more, but maybe in the new year we'll see more of her in the team. Let's hope so. But yeah, it's difficult now, isn't it? Because suddenly all these other names are coming up and it's like, well, okay. Cornish Gooner says, Katie, for me, scored important goals, stepped up to captain the side during the injuries. Exactly, yeah, she did, yeah. Plays wherever needed, always to the highest level, so important in the way she influences the players. Absolutely no. Again, you can't argue with Katie McCabe, absolutely not. Because she's, like you said, she's had to step up. She's a leader of the team anyway. You know, we've got quite a few leaders on the pitch. She's one of them, definitely. And yeah, her performances again have been brilliant. And so that's LG says there. What I like now about Lotta is that she has personally acknowledged that she's no longer a prospect and that she should now be in her peak. She's turning 25 in January, by the way. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you're right. And you can see that level. She's gone up, hasn't she? She's gone up that level in the last year or so, with that extra responsibility. And you're right, it's sometimes easy to think of Lotta as a young player still, because she always seems like she's a young player, but you're right, she's not. She's, you know, she should be coming into her peak years, and she's certainly playing as well as she's ever played. Good. Jimmy says Jonas is going to have a hard time picking 11 when they're all healthy. Absolutely, 100% you will. We can never pick a starting 11. It's so hard. You know, Jonas has got to do that job, and it matters because he's the one who's picking the team. We can pick whoever we like; it doesn't matter because that's not what's going to happen. But it's hard for us to do it. I mean, Jonas, well, he's got a tough job. Greg says the crowd is the 12th player. Yeah, I mean, obviously the crowd. You're absolutely right. And yeah, maybe the crowd deserve a mention for one of the players of the year. But I mean, Amar, who would you go with? Then obviously a lot of options, which is great to have. Who would be your choice for player of the year?
Oh yeah, that's again. It's all been taken. Although I was going to potentially take me. Yeah, Stina deserves credit. She's a very underrated player, and she's scored most of our goals. She's scored so many crucial goals for us to go back into teams. Why she doesn't play more is beyond me. Again, that's down to the manager with all the attacking options he has. Let's hope in 2024 she gets more playing time. That's for another day, though. Yeah, I think Lotta's been starting to form up a partnership in the central defence with Amanda. It's not been easy with all the injuries that we've had. So yeah, good mention for. But yeah, you know what you're going to get from Katie week in, week out, isn't it? It was brilliant for Ireland during the World Cup as well. Scores great goals for us. Energy is infectious. It almost as if the team plays or is better off with her infectious energy going through them, and she inspires them to play to be at the top of their games. But I'd also like to honorably mention Steph as well. I think she's made that left back position her own. She's contributing assists and goals like the one I mentioned against City. She was a brilliant World Cup for Australia. She's become an integral part, and arguably she's cemented her place as the best left back in the world, one of the best left backs in the world, if not the best left back in the world. And there's almost no one that can replace her in that position. And so it's difficult to pick, but anyone could do it. Any one of them deserve a mention for player of the year. It's hard to pick one, but if I had to, I'd probably say Katie.
Yeah, why not? I mean, Katie's had a great year as always. You know, she's the epitome of consistency, isn't she? She never has a bad game. I just think that sometimes she can get a little bit too excited in challenges, and she likes to get involved in everything. And sometimes that can be detrimental to the team. But no, you're right. She's brilliant, and there's no doubt about that. LG says top three for me: 1, Katie McCabe; 2, Vicky Palova; 3, Stina Blackstenius. Although I'm still not. Well, if you're not a massive fan of her, you've put a third in the player of the year, then that's not too bad, is it? You must rate her then, and that's good to see. Jafar says, I agree 100%. Stina is our most clinical attacking player, yet she hardly starts. I just feel bad for her. Yeah, I feel bad for her. It upsets me actually when I get the team sheet out and it's like, she's on the bench again. It just annoys me a little bit. But, you know, she's coming on scoring goals, having an impact still. And I hope that we're not thinking of getting rid of her in January, because that would be a mistake. I think that would be a mistake. She's our top goal scorer. You don't get rid of your top goal scorer, do you? Cornish Schooner says, good choice, Amar. Yeah, of course it's a great choice for Amar. Katie McCabe, of course it is. And you can't really argue with that. So, yeah, I mean, so many contenders for player of the year, and that's what we want to see. You know, you've had a reasonably decent year if there's 5 or 6 different players get a mention for player of the year. You know, it's been a good year. If you've only got 1 or 2 getting mentioned, then you know you've probably not had a good year. So we'll take the fact that it's been quite a split vote, really. It's difficult to just pick one. But it's my show, and I'm picking Stina because that's it. Wait, but everyone, they all deserve a good mention. So yes, we will definitely enjoy that. Jimmy says there, who would you guys pick for the fastest pace with the ball? Oh, I don't know actually.
Pace with the ball.
See, we don't tend to. Not many of our players actually run with the ball, do they? Generally, we're quite a passing team. I mean, Caitlin Ford's quite quick with the ball, isn't she? Running with the ball. I don't know actually. Fastest with the ball.
Quite quick. I don't know. That's tough. That is tough.
Beth Mead, maybe. I don't know. She's not really the quickest, though, is she? I don't know. It's tough, actually. I'm not really sure. I've never really looked at it like that. It's not like the men's game where players who have pace stand out in the men's game a lot, don't they? Because of the way the game's played. Women's game is different, isn't it? It's not about pace, so you don't tend to see that really going on very often there. It's more of a technical game, isn't it? More of a passing technical game, movement off the ball and stuff like that. Greg says Lacasse is very quick. Yeah, no, she's. I mean, I'm not saying we've got slow players, but speed isn't something that really gets noticed so much. Jimmy's gone for Ford. Yeah, I think she runs with the ball more, doesn't she, Caitlin Ford? She seems to run with the ball, so she maybe looks like she's running with it faster because she tends to run with it more than some of the other players do. LG says I could have put Frida, but she's been mixed bag from May to. Yeah, I agree. She's not had a great year, second half of the year. You're absolutely right. LG says, I think Frida is fastest with the ball, or maybe, Clara Cooney-Cross is a good shot, actually. She's quick with the ball. Yeah, you're right. It's difficult, isn't it? I don't know. We'll have to maybe see if there's any stats available to find out who the quickest player is, because I'm not really sure, actually. Andreas, who would you say was maybe quickest with the ball? I'm not sure.
Difficult to say. Maybe Stina with her runs, or from the whole squad. It could be Gio. But we haven't seen her in this season. But I think if we remember when she was playing, she has a lot of pace. Difficult to say. It's not the way we are playing. It doesn't depend on pace.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's why, isn't it? You don't notice pace in the women's game so much anyway, do you, really? Because it's played a different way. Who would you go for, Emma, then, on that one? Fastest with the ball. It's tough, isn't it,
The
really?
quickest on the ball, I don't know. That's really tough. They all got great skills and great pace, but that is tough. I really don't know. I can't pick one if I'm being honest, but I would probably, that could be one of the forwards, I would say. I'd probably say Beth, but I mean, it's really tough, really.
Yeah, I think Stina's probably the quickest without the ball, the way her movement and the running in behind and stuff. But, whether she's quite as quick with the ball at her feet, she never runs with the ball very often. She gets the ball in the box and sticks it in the net. She doesn't often run past people too much because she doesn't need to. That's not her game. But it's not in the women's game, is it? Terry says, typical Arsenal fans last season, other than a couple of us rated Stina, a class act now. Yeah. See, I'd already ticked you down for Jem Beattie, Terry. I'd already put you in that box for voting for Jem Beattie. But anyway, I'm glad you changed to Stina. That's what I like to see. So, yeah, I mean, it's been pretty split, isn't it? There's 4 or 5 players that have stood out. Obviously, Katie, Stina's got a few votes there. Vicky Palova. And who else was mentioned? There was a couple of others, was there, that we mentioned? Vicky Palova, Stina, Katie McKay.
Lotta.
Oh, Lotta, of course, Lotta as well, yeah. So there's been a few different options there, which is good, isn't it? Leah Walty got a mention as well earlier. So, yeah, we've had a few there. So it's good that we've got all those options. And, yeah, it's tough just to pick one standout player, but I'm going for Stina because she deserves it. So that is all their award. Just one more thing, actually. What I want to just do, obviously, Amar's got his question for us as well. But just before we do that, I just want to do this quickly, between the three of us, maybe you guys in the chat as well, just to see what we want for this. So New Year coming, and it's time to maybe. What are our hopes for 2024 for this group of players? What do we expect, or what do we hope that this team can achieve in the year of 2024? Andreas, what would be your hopes for the 2024?
Realistic hopes are winning a trophy again, whether it's FA Cup or Conti Cup, and just reaching qualification for Champions League. To be realistic, I don't think we'll win the league title, but we are able to win a cup trophy, and this would be great if we manage this. And you mentioned the whole year 2024. Then being back in Champions League, I hope that we will have a great season with the top teams in Europe again in autumn.
I mean, I'm sure we would all love all those things happen, wouldn't we? Definitely. Amar, what's your hopes then for 2024 for this team, this club?
I mean, I wouldn't say the league title is out of the question, but we probably have to win pretty much every game and can't afford any more performances. I mean, 1 or 2 new signings, another trophy, another one I've desired the most, which we haven't won, will be 8 years now, and the fact we've been in 2 finals since and lost, winning the FA Cup at Wembley would just make my season as well. I mean, it'll be great to see. Hopefully, somebody stopped Chelsea and from winning every trophy in MA's last season. So that would be my hope, and also hopefully getting back into the Champions League without having to play any of those silly qualifiers, or maybe one qualifying round. So a trophy, a couple of new signings, but the most I'd desire would be to win the FA Cup at Wembley. That would be great.
It would be great. Absolutely would be great. No question about that. Terry says, win everything. Obviously, that would be, we all hope that's what's going to happen. But again, as Andreas said, sort of realistically, what realistic hopes have we got? LG says, win the WSL, although I feel the Spurs result was a massive blow. It was. To win the league now, we need to be perfect for the 12 remaining games. It's not about perfect. I think everybody's going to drop more points. We're only 3 points off. We've still got to play Man City and Chelsea again, so we've got the opportunity in our hands to beat them, and then that makes up that 3 points, and then they'll probably drop some points elsewhere. We'll probably drop some points elsewhere. I don't think it's gone. It is tough now. Absolutely, it is going to be tough, but to win the WSL is the dream. Obviously, that would be now with what's left of the season. That would be the dream, wouldn't it? To win the WSL, take it off Chelsea, to give Emma the proper send off that she deserves. But I agree with Amar. Winning the FA Cup after a long time without it, we won it more than anybody else. that would be a great way to finish the season, wouldn't it? You know, to win that FA Cup. And it's a step up, winning a Conti Cup last year, winning the FA Cup this season. Maybe that's the springboard and to go on and win the WSL the year after. But the one thing is absolutely right, what Andreas said as well. Let's qualify for the Champions League without the need for these stupid qualifiers. Let's get in that top 2 and make sure we're in it next year straight away in the group stage. And that's obviously got to be the aim as well. And if we win a trophy, we finish in the top 2 in the WSL. I think sitting here now in May, we'll look on that as a successful season, a very successful season, won't we? And, you know, we can't really ask for much more than that. Winning the league would be amazing. And, you know, we're not out of it yet. You know, Corey's goodness says we aren't out of the league.
Of course not.
It's tough. We've made it. Had we beaten Tottenham, we would be well in there fighting away, wouldn't we? Now I know it's only one game, and you think, well, one game, half a season, but it's not. The women's game is not like the Premier League, where you can say you can make 2 or 3 bad games and get away with it. In the WSL, it's tough, but we'll see. Greg says should win at least 2 trophies and no serious injuries. It'd be nice to win 2 trophies. And obviously, no injuries would be amazing. Of course, we don't want any more injuries. We've had far too many. But I'm optimistic that we're going to have a good 2024. Can we achieve some of these aims? Yes, I think we can. I think we can definitely win a trophy or 2. I think we can definitely finish in the top 2 in the league, qualify for the Champions League, and then hopefully we can start next season well. So when we're looking back this time next year on 2024, we're looking back on some great memories again and some great moments, and hopefully another trophy or 2. But no, we're not out of the league yet. But it's tough now. It's going to be really tough, and we do need to win most of our games. Let's be honest, we're going to have to win most of them, aren't we? So that was our little end of season awards. The medals will be sent out in the post to the players who won just about the end of the year. LG says only the WSL champions gets direct entry. Man, you finished second. And that's right. Yeah,
one qualifier
straight into a 2. Yeah, you don't got to go through that stupid qualifying group system thing that starts in the middle of the summer. But no, you're right. You only the champions qualify automatically. Yeah, but I'll be quite happy just to go for a 2-legged game like we did last year, and that wouldn't be so bad. But yeah, you know, you're right. Yeah, only the champions qualify directly. But yeah, I'll take second place, and just that knockout game will do for me. But let's win it. Obviously, that's the aim. Surely to still win it, and we can. But yeah, it's going to be tough. You're right, and we'll have to win most of our game. If we've got we've had a bit of a break now. We can put the Tottenham game behind us. If we win pretty much every game between now and the end of the season, we'll probably win the treble. And in fact, if we did win every game, we would win the treble. So let's look at it like that. Why not? Let's be optimistic and say we can. But is that realistic? I don't know. We've got the squad to do it, but I don't know. Terry says, "Remember how lucky we are."
He's all right. Stop flagging him off.
Doing well, man. He's doing well now.
He's doing all right now. Yeah, he's settled in. He's settled in, man.
Settled in. He's playing well at the minute, actually.
He's playing well. He's playing.
So what we need to do then before we end this brilliant show, our last show of 2023 is Amar has got something very special for us. I'm very sure he has. And of course, I've got my pen and my paper ready for the final question of 2023. Amar, take it away.
It's funny you should say that. I was going to actually say what was the overall goal difference for Arsenal women in 2023, but you already mentioned the games they played and the goals they scored and the goals they conceded. So, but however, I did come up with another question. Okay, so my final question for 2023 is this: how many countries represented by the Arsenal women's team are also represented by players playing at this year's PDC World Darts Championship?
What? I don't watch darts. How would I have a clue?
Oh, but yes. Come on, the countries that are represented by Arsenal women, how many of those have players playing for them, representing the PDC World Championship?
Okay. Right. 1, 2, 3.
I know you don't watch darts, but still, come on. It's still, yeah. Think of countries that are represented by Arsenal women and how many players playing representing those countries at the PDC World Championship.
Right, okay. Who plays darts, man? I was trying to think of the player that played. I ain't watched darts for years. I'm going to go with 1, 2, 3. I've written down 5 countries here. I'm going to go with them 5 to start with.
Okay, so what countries have you got written down?
England,
Yes,
Scotland,
yes.
Holland,
Holland, Netherlands, yes.
Australia,
Australia.
Ooh.
and the last one I've got, I had a choice between two. I've gone with Sweden.
Well, yeah, you got 5 right there. However, it's not quite the full amount. Almost, but not quite. Yeah,
Is
you
there
got 5
more?
there. There's more.
Wow, okay.
You said 5, so you said England, Netherlands, Scotland, Australia, and Sweden, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Terry
see?
said Terry has gone with 7, so that would be 2
Ooh.
extra ones. Dan's gone with 4. Well, Dan's obviously wrong because
4.
there's more than 4 because we've already got 7. Cornish Gooner says darts. Bristow was still playing last time I went. That's me as well, my friend.
That was in the 80s. That was in the 80s. That was in the 80s.
Yeah, that's probably last time I went. Greg's gone with 8, so we've got a 7 and an 8 there. Obviously,
close.
we know it's more than 5 because we've got 5 already. So it's like so.
Just shout yours out again. So you said England, Scotland, Netherlands, Australia, and Sweden.
What about Norway and Denmark?
Norway and Denmark. No, sorry, that's wrong.
The other one I had then, Emma, by the way, I did have one more. I couldn't decide between Sweden. The other one was Switzerland.
No, not Switzerland. In fact, no, it's not. No, not Switzerland, not Denmark, not Norway. Unfortunately,
Austria.
Austria is correct. Yes, Austria is correct. Rusty Jake Rodriguez is Austrian.
Austria.
Is he? So that's 6 then. Is there any more than 6?
Yeah, it's more than 6.
It is more than 6. Oh, well, maybe Terry or Greg might have this right then. So there's at least one or 2 more. Right, okay. I'm trying to think who else. What other nations are in our squad? Canada's
are correct as well.
Oh, come on. I'm doing well at this. I don't even watch darts.
Canada is correct.
Is there any more?
There's 7.
Is there more?
Yes, there is more. There's more.
Oh, there is more. Okay. So Terry can't be right then.
You're not far off here. You're not far off.
Okay.
Yeah, so you said England, Scotland, Australia, Canada. What the other one? Yeah, you said Austria, you said Sweden, and yeah. I think you said 7.
Ireland?
Yes, Republic of Ireland is correct. So the answer is 8. The answer is 8. Yes.
Ireland, of course. Ireland, yes, obviously Ireland. So Greg says 8. Greg got it right. Canada went with Spain.
No, not Spain.
Spain was a good shout.
No Spanish darts players, I'm afraid.
Of course, yeah, we've got Leia Cadena, who's not really played that much, but yeah.
No, but I just looked at the answers. 8, yeah. So it was England, Scotland, Republic of Ireland, Canada, Australia, Sweden, Austria, and I can't remember what the other one was now, but yeah, I think it was 8.
Canada.
Yeah,
I've got 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 8 written down there.
8, yeah. So the answer was 8.
So Greg got it right with 8. Well done, Greg.
Greg. Well done.
I knew whether that was a guess, but either way, you've done well to get 8 because I'd never have thought it was that many. So Terry was close with 7. But there you go. That was quite an interesting question, wasn't it? Since none of us watched darts, we did quite well considering.
Why not? I know, yeah, fair enough. We're still.
At the end of the day, it's just the countries that we've got players in, I suppose, that was kind of give it away a little bit. But that was good, actually. I quite enjoyed thinking about all the different countries that might play darts. Because it's not a universal sport, is it, darts? I wouldn't have thought.
It's a pub game, isn't it? But I think it's great.
Yeah. No, I mean, I used to watch it back in the day, as Cornish Gooner said with Eric Bristow. I used to watch it back then, but I've not watched. I did see there was it a 16-year-old guy? Did he win something?
Yes, he's actually won tonight. He's actually won his latest match tonight. He's through to the 4th round. He's playing Luke Littler. Yeah, he's through.
Wow, because he's only 6. He looks about 25, doesn't he?
No,
he's only 16.
Yeah, they were chanting him in the crowd. They're saying you've got school in the morning, but he doesn't actually go to school.
No, but he doesn't. He looks about 30. That's why.
No, he's through to the last 16, so he's playing brilliantly.
No, well, fair play to him. I mean, someone that young doing that well, because you don't often get young players doing that well in darts, do you? It seems like you need that extra experience from playing for a long time. I don't know, but no, fair play to him. Even though he looks like he's a lot older than 16, but there you go. He's had a tough paper run, hasn't he? Gunnar Dan says, "Who is that idiot with the punk haircut? Wouldn't have a clue."
Peter Wright. I think it's about Peter Wright, the Scotsman. Yeah, Peter Wright. I think it's all about Peter Wright.
He's got punk hair, has he? I'll have to watch
he
out for
always
him.
does funny hairstyles. Yeah. Funny.
Does he? Cool. Okay. And he's Scottish, is he?
Yeah, he's Scottish. Always. He's 2-time world champion. Actually, yeah, he's done well.
Oh, okay, brilliant. Well, there you go. There we know. Anyway, so that was a bit of a darts question, a bit of a Arsenal women's question, all thrown into one, which was quite good. So we enjoyed that, didn't we? There was 8 anyway. 8 different nations representing the Arsenal women's team also have got players in the darts championship, which is good. So that has been the review of 2023, which has been an up and down year. Good moments, some not so good moments, but ultimately we've won a trophy. We've signed some great players. We've seen some great goals go in. We've had some great moments in the stadium ourselves as well. And we're looking forward to much, much more of the same in 2024, aren't we? There's maybe some better moments as well. Some more trophies would be nice, and some more great goals and some more great signings, all kinds of great stuff to happen in 2024. So that's going to be good. Terry says, great show again, Richard, Andreas, Amar. Your time is much appreciated. And we appreciate all you guys watching. All your comments have been great tonight. Thanks for getting involved. Everyone in the chat tonight, thank you for getting involved in the show, giving us your votes for your favourites and not so favourites as well, which is always nice to get your views as well, which is great. Don't forget, I'll be back tomorrow with the Arsenal game against West Ham. It's 8:15 kickoff, so I'll be at 8 o'clock for that one. So join me for that's going to be good. Friday we're doing this, but we're doing the Arsenal men's review of 2023 on Friday at 8 o'clock. So join me for that one, of course. And then Sunday, the final game of the year, the final show of the year, Arsenal against Fulham on New Year's Eve, 2 o'clock kickoff. I'll be here for that one as well. So that will be good. Greg says there, thanks for a good night, Rock on 24. Exactly, that's what we're looking forward to, my friend. A great 2024 for everybody. I'll say that's been 2023 for the Arsenal women. We won a trophy. We're happy. It's been a good year overall. We've got some great moments and great memories. Andreas, have you enjoyed 2023 with us here? Enjoyed the Arsenal women in 2023 as well?
Yeah, of course, I enjoyed the show, and the fact that we were discussing now for nearly 2 hours shows that the Arsenal women really had an interesting year, and a lot happened to our team, and it was to discuss all this and to have all these awards, bringing back the memories from the year. And of course, it was a year with a lot of great shows and discussions with you guys. I enjoyed this very, very much, and I'm glad to be a part of this. And thanks for having me. And it was a great year. I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the year. Looking forward to everything that's coming.
Yeah, hopefully more of the same. Well, just better, even better stuff in 2024. That's what we hope. LG says, thanks to you three for this amazing show. See you in 2024. Thank you very much for joining us and being part of it. That's what we like to hear. Good that you enjoyed it as well. Cool experiences. Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah, of course. If you're not going to be watching the men's shows that we've got coming up, obviously, Happy New Year to everyone watching this show. We'll be back, of course, in January for the first game. The FA Cup game is against Watford's our first game, so we'll be on the Friday before that, which is the is that the 12th, isn't it? 12th of January, because the game's on the 14th.
That's correct. Yeah, that's on 12th of January. Yeah, next game is
so we'll be back on the 12th of January for our first show 2024. Hopefully, we'll have a signing or two to talk about. A new signing, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? So we'll see what happens there. Amar as well. Good to see you again. Have you enjoyed 2023 with us? Have you enjoyed watching the Arsenal women in 2023 as well?
Yeah, no, it's been good following the progress. It's been a year like no other, but we'll keep players to come back. Hold high hopes in 2024. Hopefully we'll win a trophy or two. And long may I continue to be part of this discussion group. It's great, and hopefully there'll be plenty more for us to cheer going forward. So I look forward to what the new year has to bring, and I can't wait.
Exactly, well said, and we totally agree. And I'm sure 2024 is going to be another great year, not only for the Arsenal women, as I'm sure it will be, but also for us here on this show as well, and for all you lot that watch us as well, which we do appreciate every single week. Terry says, have a great rest of your time off, and happy New Year to you three, all in the chat. Hit the thumbs up before you go. Indeed, hit the thumbs up as well before you go. So I'll be back tomorrow for the West Ham game, 8 o'clock. I'll be here. Looking forward to that one. 2 more games left of the year for the men. Let's hope we can finish the year in style. Top of the league would be nice, wouldn't it? And that'll be good. So join me for that one tomorrow. Obviously, thank you very much to Andreas coming off his sick bed to be with us tonight. I hope you're feeling better now. And of course to Amar as well for joining us for this special show at the end of the year. Terry says there, Richard Andreas, no, it's been emotional, wouldn't change a thing. No, we wouldn't change a thing, my friend. We're glad that you're enjoying it all. Greg says, I'll be 65 on the 11th. Good birthday present show on the 12th. Oh, there you go. Well, you know, happy birthday for the 11th. Obviously, we'll see you on the 12th anyway. Wow, 65. Fantastic. That's a decent number to be. You'll be catching up with Andreas soon, won't you? I'm sure. But we'll do a happy birthday for you on the 12th. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a obviously enjoy the rest of your time off. Have a great new year, peaceful new year. We'll see you for the women's show in January. I'll be back tomorrow for the men's game. I say thanks to Andreas, thanks to Amar, thanks to all you guys in the chat. Give us a like before you go, of course, and we'll see you soon. That has been 2023. It has been emotional. It's been a wrap. See you later, guys. Thanks for watching. Okay, come on, you gunners. Let's make 2024 the best one yet, eh? Let's do it. Come on. Okay, guys. See you later, guys. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys. Take care.